There is a mystery older than the pyramids, cooler than the Babylon, and way more hygienic than ancient Rome. 5,000 years ago, somewhere along the Indus River and its tributaries, people were building cities with street grids, underground drainage, and perfectly standardized bricks, while much of the rest of the world was still figuring out how not to set their foots on fire. Yeah, while Europe was inventing huts, these folks were inventing urban planning. This was the Indus Valley Civilization, also known as the Harapan Civilization, one of the humanity's earliest experiments in organized urban life. They built advanced cities like Mohenjo-Daro, Harappa, Dholavira, and Lothal. Then, just as mysteriously as they appeared, they vanished. So what happened to the world's first urban planners? Let's dig literally and historically. The Indus Valley Civilization or Harappan Civilization thrived between 3300 and 1300 BCE in what's now Pakistan, northwestern India, and parts of Afghanistan. It covered about 1.25 million square kilometers, roughly the size of modern Mexico, making it one of the largest ancient civilizations ever discovered. Over 1,000 settlements have been identified from small villages to giant urban centers. Among them, cities like Mohenjo-Daro, Harappa, and Dholavira stand out for their design, organization, and sheer audacity. It's like they had a city planning department before bureaucracy even became a thing. Let's start with Mohenjo-Daro, located in today's Sindh province of Pakistan. Founded around 2500 BCE, it probably had around 35 to 40,000 residents, about the same as a small modern town. The city covered roughly 240 hectares and followed an incredible grid plan, straight streets crossing the right angles, dividing the city into rectangular blocks. Buildings were made of baked bricks, each 28 by 14 by 7 centimeters, so standardized that archaeologists showed that they had ISO certification before it was cool. Homes ranged from modest one-room dwellings to large two-story houses with courtyards. Some even had private wells and toilets connected to an underground sewage system. Yes, you heard that right. 4,000 years before modern plumbing, these people were flushing their problems away. At the city center was the Great Bath, a massive waterproof tank 12 meters long and 2.4 meters deep. It was likely used for ritual bathing, basically an ancient spa, minus the cucumber water and annoying influencers. Up north, in today's Punjab region of Pakistan, was Harappa, another urban marvel. Built on the same principles as Mohenjo-Daro, Harappa also had a citadel area, raised and fortified, and a lower town for ordinary citizens. Population estimates range from 25 to 35,000 people living in well-planned neighborhoods. It had granaries, streets, workshops, and fortified walls, showing a sophisticated understanding of urban zoning. Harappan seals with animal motifs and inscriptions that has still not been undeciphered have been found as far as Mesopotamia. Globalization before globalization, except their trade routes didn't require Wi-Fi. Now let's head to south to the Rann of Kutch in Gujarat, India, home of Dholavira, one of the best preserved Indus cities. Built around 2650 BCE, Dholavira was divided into 3 zones: the citadel, middle town, and lower town, each separated by massive walls. What made Dholavira special? Despite being in a semi-arid desert, the city had 16 reservoirs carved into rock, collecting rainwater and channeling it through stone drains. The residents built step wells and even a stadium-like open ground, showing that civic planning extended beyond just survival. It was also about public life. Meanwhile, we can't even fix potholes with a 4-year governmental study. Another gem, Lothal, located near the Gulf of Combat, shows the maritime power of the Indus world. It had a dockyard about 218 by 37 meters in size, one of the oldest known in human history, used for trade with Mesopotamia and Arabian Peninsula. Harappans exported cotton, beads, and copper, and imported lapis lazuli, gold, and silver. In modern terms, they were running a Bronze Age import-export business that spanned 2 continents. So yeah, think of Lothal as the Dubai of 2000 BCE, minus the skyscrapers and traffic jams. What makes the Indus Valley cities truly remarkable is their uniformity. Across 1,000 kilometers, cities followed similar design codes, including gridded street layouts, north-south and east-west orientation, drainage and waste systems, and standard brick proportions. They even had standardized weights and measures, tiny stones shaped into cubes, with precise ratios like 1 to 2 to 4 to 8. This suggests a centralized or at least highly coordinated form of governance, yet we found no evidence of kings, palaces, or massive monuments. It's like they achieved urban efficiency without politicians. Maybe that's why they were so advanced. Harappans were primarily farmers, artisans, and traders. They cultivated wheat, barley, and cotton, one of the earliest uses of it in the world. Their diets included fish, fruits, and dairy, as confirmed by archaeological remains. Neighborhoods had community wells, and streets were lined with covered drains. Wastewater from each house connected to a public sewer, truly the world's first municipal sanitation network. Public buildings such as granaries and assembly halls show the collective nature of their cities. In other words, these people had better city services in 2000 BCE than some modern cities do in 2025. The layout of cities reveals distinct land use zones, including the citadel, raised on mud brick platforms, likely contained public and administrative buildings. The lower town, home to common residents, artisans, and traders. Industrial zones where pottery, beads, and tools were made, and storage areas, particularly near the citadel and riverbanks. The planning wasn't just practical, it was symbolic. By elevating the citadel, they separated governance or rituals from everyday chaos below. So yes, zoning laws existed 4,000 years before urban planners started using PowerPoint. Around 1900 BCE, things started to unravel. After nearly 700 years of stable urban life, the Harappan cities began to decline, not because of war or invasion, but something subtler. The climate records show that South Asian monsoon weakened dramatically between 2100 and 1900 BCE. Crops failed, rivers dried up, and water sources disappeared. Satellite data reveals that the Gagar-Hakra River, possibly the ancient Sarasvati, dried out completely. Without water, agriculture collapsed, trade dwindled, and cities began to empty out. When nature unsubscribes from your irrigation plan, there is not much you can do. The Indus River changed its course multiple times, leaving once fertile areas dry and isolating key cities. There is also evidence of deforestation and soil salinization, likely from over-irrigation. The very success of their agriculture may have ruined their ecosystem, a Bronze Age warning about sustainability. Harappans had long traded with Mesopotamia, but around 1900 BCE, Mesopotamian cities themselves fell into decline. With trade routes disrupted, Harappan cities lost their economic lifeline. Think of it as the world's first supply chain crisis. No copper, no trade, no survival. Archaeologists have found that as cities declined, people didn't vanish. They moved. Populations migrated eastward towards the Ganges plain, forming smaller village-based communities. This marks a transition rather than an apocalyptic end, from urban life to agrarian simplicity. It was like everyone moved out of the city for cheaper rent and better Wi-Fi. For a long time, textbooks blamed the Aryan invasion for the Harappan collapse, but modern archaeology has found no sign of warfare, destruction, or conquest. No burnt layers, no mass graves, just gradual abandonment. It wasn't a war, it was a slow fate. One of the biggest puzzles of this civilization is the Indus script, over 400 unique symbols carved on seals, tablets, and pottery. To this day, it remains undeciphered. Without knowing their language, we can only guess how they governed or what they believed in. Every few years, someone claims they have cracked the code. And every time scholars collectively sigh, "Sure, buddy, we have heard that one since 1920. So what does the Indus Valley Civilization teach modern urban planners? Firstly, shared design principles created harmony and efficiency, and their success and collapse both revolved around water management. And also, when systems can't adapt, they crumble under change. And finally, it's not a 20th century invention, it's a 5,000-year-old survival skill. And they pulled it off without consultants charging $500 an hour. The Indus Valley Civilization is not just a chapter in history, it's a mirror. A civilization that mastered urban life, yet collapsed when the environment changed. Their story reminds us that cities are fragile ecosystems, dependent on balance between people, nature, and planning. Today, as we face climate change, overpopulation, and water scarcity, their ghost still whispers through time, urban brilliance is temporary, sustainability is eternal. So next time you flush a toilet, give a little nod to the harapans, the original masters of modern comfort.